Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bjorn and I am currently in Sweden, Scandinavia, Western Europe right now. And I just thought that I would bring this video to you today. Cultural shock, my cultural shock coming from Kenya and Uganda when comparing it to Scandinavia. But before I go on, make sure to subscribe to my channel right now by clicking the subscription button. You could also join my channel and become a member of the channel. Make sure to like the video, share it with all your friends and family, and of course comment on my video to let me know your thoughts about this topic. Now the topic for today is my cultural shock coming from East Africa, Kenya and Uganda, straight to Scandinavia, Western Europe, Denmark and Sweden. Now I am originally from the Caribbean nation of St. Kitts and Nevis, but I'm traveling right now. I would have been to Africa for about maybe 4 months in East Africa, traveling all the way from the Caribbean, and I spent 4 months in East Africa, and I've just been here in Scandinavia, Western Europe, Sweden and Denmark for about a week now. So I would have made several observations. And I have about 4 topics here for today: the weather, people, culture, infrastructure, population, and development. Just those 4 simple topics for today that I'm going to discuss with you. As I go along, as the weeks pass, I will get more information. But for now, I'm going to let you know what I would have seen for now, my friends. Let's talk about the weather for one moment. In Kenya, it's June and July in Kenya is the coldest months of the year. That is known as the Kenyan winter time. It's not as cold as Western Europe winter, but it's very cold for Africa. Now, I would have been in Kenya since the starting of June, and I could tell you at nights, anytime after 12 midnight to 6 a.m. in the morning, 7 a.m. in the morning, it's very cold. But as the sun comes up, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, it's warm, it's wonderful, warm weather. And that is constant throughout the days. Every day, it's like the same thing. Cold at nights and at early mornings, and warm, normal temperatures during the day. Now, in Sweden, for example, this is summer time, and the weather feels a little bit colder in Sweden, and it's winter, and it's summertime here, and it's winter time in Kenya. But here's the thing: the weather constantly changes. It could be a little bit sunny during the day, and then the rain will just come suddenly. It's darker. The sun could go up until midnight, 12 o'clock, and that is when it will get dark. Like 11 o'clock in the night could be light. You could see bright weather 11 o'clock in the night. Like it's 7 o'clock right now, and as you can see right here, it's bright still. And this can go on up until 10, 11 o'clock at night. I remember one morning I got up at about just after 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was bright. The sun had risen already. So that was a big shock for me. So that's the difference in the weather I see. It's summer here, but it's a little bit cooler, and it's the coldest time of the year in Kenya, June and July. And it's cold at night, late nights to early morning, but sunny during the rest of the day. Now the people and the culture, from what I would have seen, in Uganda and Kenya, there's a lot more people. You would see people everywhere. You drive on the road, you walk on the road, you would see a lot of people walking on the road, heading to work, coming back. There is no place you can go and you don't see people. You will see a lot of children in Kenya and Uganda, a lot of young people, young women, young men. You would hardly see an elderly person there in Kenya and Uganda. You would see an elderly person here and there, but the majority you would see very young, between the ages of maybe in the teens to early 20s. That is the bulk of the population from what I would have seen in Kenya and Uganda. Now you compare that to Sweden. The population is much lower. You could see that from the beginning. You can be like, for example, I'm out here right now. The population of Sweden is like 10 million, and the population of Kenya is almost 60 million, and the population of Uganda is almost 50 million people. So you can see it's a big difference. But so you can see I'm out here right now and there's nobody around. There's nobody. Once or twice you might see one person walk by. Even on the street, I could walk on the street and you will see one or two cars on the road driving. And I would see a lot more older people, like over 60 years old, 60, 70, 80 years old here in Sweden. For example, on the bus, I would have seen on the bus drivers are like in their 70s and 80s here. You would never see that. You would never find that in Kenya or Uganda. All the people driving taxis, buses, very young people. Even at the gym, there's elderly people working out at the gym in Sweden, whereas in Uganda and Kenya, of course, very, very young people. But the infrastructure now, here's the thing. In Kenya and Uganda, the infrastructure is not as developed as in Scandinavia, Sweden. You have a lot more people, but you don't have the infrastructure for those people. In Sweden now, there's a lot less people and you have massive infrastructure. You have roads everywhere. So it's like in Sweden, you have the infrastructure is too developed. It looks to me like the infrastructure in Sweden is too developed for the amount of people I am seeing. It's like this country, Sweden, look like it can take 60 million people easily. Easily, it can take 60 million people. So I don't know if this infrastructure was built to accommodate for the future, to accommodate a lot of people, or there was a lot of people here before. Comment in the comment section and let me know what you think. In Kenya and Uganda, everywhere seems to be a little bit overcrowded. You have more people than the infrastructure can take, and that is a big difference. For example, in Kenya and Uganda, you have roads, yes, but here in Sweden you have roads everywhere. You even have roads for bikes. And when I was in Uganda, you could, in the village, the roads were dirt roads. Large parts of the village was in dirt roads. But here in Sweden, you have roads even for bikes, and they're empty. There one or two bikers may come drive across, like maybe once every 5 minutes or something like that. But you would hardly see any bikers for all of these roads that was designed for bikers. The overall development of Scandinavia and Sweden and Denmark is advanced. It is very, very advanced, my friends. The infrastructure in Africa is coming up. It's growing. You have advanced infrastructure in Africa in the cities, but when you come out a little bit, you could see there needs a lot more development. So Sweden is much more developed. But and I can also talk coming from the Caribbean as well. This type of infrastructure is like many years ahead of the Caribbean and Africa. But let's talk about community. In Africa, you can tell there's people are happier. People seem a little bit more, well, I wouldn't say happier, but because you have a lot more people and you have people interacting with each other, it seems like that part of life is better. You get to see more people, you get to interact with a lot of people, you get to meet friends, you could see a lot of friends going out and so. But in Sweden now, people are more individuals, which means they don't need people here. You could tell they don't need family, they don't need friends. They're well taken care of. So you could see a lot of people by themselves. It's a more of an individual society. A lot more people do things alone. Whereas in Africa, you will see groups of people doing work together. They would be working together and stuff like that. But so here in Sweden, you could become more lonely. Even though you have advanced infrastructure in Sweden, you could become very lonely here because of the way of life. You would hardly see anybody. You would hardly have any friends and family around, but you will have advanced infrastructure, whereas you will get everything you need. Advanced infrastructure everywhere is well developed, but however, in Africa now, you will have infrastructure that's not advanced. However, you would have people all around you. You would have groups of people. Anywhere you go, you could talk to a stranger, meet a stranger in the road in Kenya or Uganda and talk to them, and they will talk to you like nothing. But it's a little bit different here. I was going to say something else, but I lost my chain of thoughts. Let me see if I could remember. I'm thinking. I was going to say something. Oh, yes, I remember now. Sometimes it's good to pause for a moment so that you could remember your thoughts. In terms of housing, let's talk about the housing now. The housing in Kenya, the homes are much bigger. Well, some of them, what should I say? You have different levels. You can see clearly the upper class, middle class, and lower class. You could see that very clearly in Kenya. You go into some neighborhoods, you would see massive homes, beautiful gates. Like you could see there's wealthy people living there. Then you go to another area, you will see smaller homes. Then you will go to another area, you would see a lot of poverty. However, here in Sweden, Western Europe, the infrastructure is constant. Like you would see all the homes look the same. You would see everything looks very similar. It's very easy to get lost here. You're not gonna see a big difference in terms of a poor area and a rich area. Everything look the same, constant, equal. Everything looks very equal, and I guess it's because of hundreds of years of development. Remember, Sweden and Sweden, this country that I'm in, and I don't know if Scandinavia, but Sweden, I know for sure, did not participate in World War I and II. They didn't participate in that. So when England and France were completely destroyed, Germany was destroyed, Sweden was building their infrastructure all that time. So they would have had a long time to develop without any interruption. The people here in Sweden was never enslaved. You didn't have any colonialism here. Nobody occupied their land. None of that. Whereas in Kenya, you had colonialism, you had all of that, and wars as well. So, civil wars. So, when you compare both societies, both countries, you have to take all of that into consideration. The same thing with the Caribbean islands. The Caribbean islands were enslaved for hundreds of years. After slavery, you had colonization, and they were left with nothing, had to rebuild from scratch. So you can't really compare a society like this to another society like the Caribbean and Africa that suffered tremendously due to slavery and colonialism. And my friends, I just thought that I would bring this video to you to let you know. But thanks for watching. My name is Bjorn. I'm in Sweden at the moment. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure to like the video, share it with all your friends and family, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all your support. I'm over 6,000 subscribers now. I'm on the road to 7,000 subscribers, and this is because of all of your support. I could hardly talk. I don't know if it's something with the ear or pollen, they call it pollen or something like that, but I'm feeling really strange. I have to find out what that is. But my friends, thank you for watching my video, and of course I will see you again in the next video. Much love. My name is Bjorn. I am from St. Kitts and Nevis in the Caribbean. I am currently in Sweden at the moment, but the mission of my channel is to bridge the gap between Africa and the Caribbean islands. We are one people, one nation, separated by slavery and colonialism, but we are coming back together as one, bridging the gap bit by bit. And I am in Western Europe, Scandinavia right now, but I'll be heading back to Africa soon. Just taking a break in Europe to gather some information to help me with bridging the gap between Africa and the Caribbean. The name of my channel is Beyond in Africa, so you know that mission is steady and it will continue. So just taking a short break and I'll be back in Africa. So thank you for watching my video, my friends, and I'll see you again in the next video. Much love. Bye bye.